Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Fowl. Yes, it showed up on Netflix. Should it have? And here's my take on this. I don't think it's really that good, but here's the thing about Wallace and Gromit. We really haven't been given a lot of Wallace and Gromit. I've actually looked this up, and there's really only been like 6 major episodes of this. 2 of them have been movies, Vengeance Most Fowl being the second, Curse of the Were-Rabbit being the first. And I'm not really certain that Wallace and Gromit really works as a hour-and-a-half long format. I feel like it more works as, say, those half-hour segments that we were given. Stuff like A Grand Day Out, or The Wrong Trousers, or A Close Shave. I feel like those were probably where it hit its peak, and maybe you should have just sort of left it at that. Some of those won Oscars. They were that good. Vengeance Most Fowl is considered to be a sequel to The Wrong Trousers, the episode in which, let's see, how do I describe this? Okay. If you're not familiar with Wallace and Gromit, Wallace is the human, Gromit is a dog. And they live together in this house, and Wallace apparently makes a living doing inventions. And I guess he sells his innovations. I'm not really certain how he really makes his money. And and of course, since he's an inventor, and if you've seen any movie with an inventor, there are always these quirky guys that have these weird breakfast-making machines, or these little mechanisms that do all sorts of things in this kind of Rube Goldberg fashion. And yeah, I guess that's kind of the fun of it. And also the fun is that it's stop motion, so the fact that what you're seeing there is actually literally there, even though it's, made in miniature and made kind of very meticulously. I get the feeling like it took a very long time for the animators to create the first 3 of these things. And I have to say, A Grand Day Out, I didn't really think held up. I think I remember watching that many years ago and thinking like, well, this isn't very good, but I really enjoyed A Close Shave, and I really enjoyed The Wrong Trousers. I thought those were pretty good. And I think we all know that the scene in The Wrong Trousers where they have a scene on electric trains where a character is putting tracks in front of a train, and it's done, and that is just magnificent animation right there. It's just magical, honestly. So how in the world could they top that? Well, they really can't. But they brought back the villain in The Wrong Trousers. The Wrong Trousers was about Wallace invented these trousers that could walk, and it could take Gromit for walks. And then a penguin who is disguised as a chicken because he put a glove on his head. It's a weak disguise. He wants to use those trousers to commit robberies, and so he takes control over them. So in Vengeance Most Fowl, we get to see that penguin again, and Wallace is also up to some new tricks. He's invented these garden gnomes that are essentially robots. Yeah. If you can't see where this is going, I often feel like Aardman really needs to see certain things on this thing. I have to admit, when I watch certain... here's a funny thing about Aardman. They were actually working with DreamWorks for a while. They actually had a 5-picture deal going with them. And, they did what'd they do? They did Chicken Run, which I think is a masterpiece. And then they did... I can't remember what they did afterward. I think it was Anyway, it might have been Curse of the Were-Rabbit, but when they did Flushed Away did not perform very well, so the 5-picture deal kind of fell through. And as a result, they've been kind of doing stuff. If you've seen the film Early Man, which was kind of like this soccer movie with caveman, I watched that film and I was going like, there are so many sports cliches in this thing that I kind of felt like, is Aardman not aware that these are cliches? I kind of went like, yeah. So in the film, when Wallace creates these garden gnomes, these robot race, I can tell they're going to go all iRobot / Terminator / I've seen this in other films on him. And here's what happens. The character of Feathers, the penguin, manages to take control of them and uses them to do his evil bidding. Now, here's the thing about this film. Does it have funny jokes? Yes, it does. There's this hysterical joke where I swear, like, Feathers is trying to break into Wallace's account, and he has to, in order to do that, he has to identify things that have cheese on them, like pictures. And one of them is like a picture of the moon, and you actually see him kind of thinking about it by doing something like this. One of the great things about the animation of Wallace and Gromit is that the characters of Feathers and Gromit, they have no mouth, so they have to do all their expression through their eyes and their actions. And I am amazed at how expressive Gromit is. Gromit feels like a real dog. Gromit feels as much like a dog as Snoopy. And that is a huge compliment if you know anything about how I feel about Charlie Brown and that gang. Honestly, chef's kiss to whoever does the animation on that particular thing. Wallace can come across as a bit annoying, and the fact that he's kind of insensitive to the needs of his dog. Yeah, that sometimes I don't really feel like he really gets a comeuppance on that, or even apologizes to Gromit. I don't even really remember if he did. I imagine that I think by the end of the thing he was realizing that he really had something in Gromit. But anyway, so there's a side plot about these I don't know. I'm sure the police constables. I know there's a British word for this. That's not police officers, but the police are involved in this plot line very heavily. I'm actually surprised that they give so much depth to them that I just don't really feel is really needed. They actually show like there's this new person on the force who's trying to solve this case, and the head cop just kind of wants to just, I don't know, rest on his laurels and stuff like that and retire, and he's all concerned about this. Yeah, apparently, like, and here's the thing, I don't know if this is a retcon, but apparently, like, I think in the wrong trousers, Feathers was trying to steal the blue diamond, and then, but apparently they actually show that he got away with it, and that, so apparently that, and the blue diamond that they've had in the safe all these years was just like a turnip or something. So I don't really know. I kind of felt like this isn't funny. This isn't anything. I kind of felt like the movie's just really dragged when it came to those cops or those police constables. In fact, I really felt like the script needed some rewrites, which is really terrible for me to say, because in animation is one of those things where the script has to be very solid by the time you get to animating that, because there's very little room for improv or anything like that. You have to do it that way. And if you don't, you might have to refilm the entire things again, and you don't want to do that. So in watching this thing, I was going like, why am I seeing this plot line that is just dragging this film down? And, At the end, there's a married chase scene, which is what you would expect from any film that's Wallace and Gromit. There's a lot of beautiful colors in this film. It has a very autumnal and spring kind of look to it that I like. And considering the thing is about gardening, where they have the garden gnomes, it just makes a lot of sense. That just kind of works really well for it. It's one of the things that I really like about Wallace and Gromit is really the look of it and how the stop motion really works. It's wonderful to look at, and if you've got kids, I'm sure they'll love this kind of thing. And who knows, if you got kids, they'll probably like Vengeance Most Fowl. And I will have to say that I do want to see more from Aardman, but I kind of, in the case of Wallace and Gromit, maybe I want to see less. I don't know if I really, I kind of feel like it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, they've made Shaun the Sheep, which I'm told is a spin-off from of this. I don't really know if I really like Shaun the Sheep, so I'm just kind of like, yeah. I mean, I guess we'll go with Wallace and Gromit. I mean, it certainly can be very creative. I don't know if they're out to make another one. If they are, hey, more power to them. I'm not really certain what you can. I think the problem is, I think this particular setup with the inventor and his dog is very limited. I think there's really only a certain amount of things you can really do in this given scenario. So the fact that you try and drag it out with hour-and-a-half movies maybe does not work really well for it. Anyway, but hey, you can see it for free on Netflix, so yeah, do it. It's kind of fun. Anyway, Mark from the Geek Church, signing off.